Hi, I'm Barry Conrad, and this is Banter with BC. Cheers.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, bro.
Great to see you. Thanks for having me.
So good. How's the macaroni?
And no groaning. It's fantastic.
And today I'm here with my guest, Dan MacPherson. Dan, do you want to introduce yourself to the people?
My name is Daniel MacPherson or MacPherson, depending on where you're from. But no, I've been introduced many ways by many people over the years. But I'm an actor, former TV presenter, worked for 25 years now or more in film, theatre, TV, musical theatre, and everything in between. And now sort of writing, producing, and doing everything I can in this entertainment industry.
Nice. So basically I got your name wrong. So it's MacPherson.
Well, no, because it depends where you are, really. Like,
Yeah.
you know, in America, I'm Daniel MacPherson. Here, I could be MacPherson or MacPherson.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I have no preference.
Tomato. And to kick things off, we like to start with something called Two Truths and a Lie. Is that how this works?
We're gonna go straight into it. I thought maybe we'd ease our way in.
No, you're up.
Okay, so wait. I'll tell you three things, and you're gonna guess which one of them is the liar.
And I never get these right, which is really frustrating. Okay. So this is the day I feel it. I'm putting it out.
All right. I'm gonna tell you a couple of secrets.
Okay.
One is I spent a lot of time gaming, and my gaming name is Bastard Executioner 69.
Okay.
Second one is I have a really boring, passionate pastime, and that is I study horse pedigrees, and I spend a lot of time at night hypothetically mating racehorses. And the third one is many years ago, I got strapped to the top of a biplane and I had to perform the YMCA while the biplane was flying at 1,000 feet above the land.
How am I supposed to guess this one? This is crazy. Okay. I'm gonna say the lie is the gaming.
Why did you think that?
Am I right?
What made you think that?
I'm just putting it out there. I'm not gonna change my mind. Am I right?
I have never played a gaming console.
Yes! Yes! Finally! Finally!
Does that mean I'm a bad liar?
No, it's no, each one was so elaborate. I'm like, even where's his face was like, how am I gonna?
I was priding myself on that. You know, it was supposed to be a theatrical, you know, kind of guy. I had to sell some stuff.
It was theatrical, and I'm so proud of myself again.
Well done.
Finally. Mine's very simple. Okay, I still have not done a marathon. Before the pandemic hit, I went skydiving in Budapest.
Oh, well.
And one of my favorite things is chicken wings, and I have a kg of it at a time. What are you gonna say, Dan?
Really interesting.
What you got?
I'll be surprised if you haven't run a marathon, but I think it's definitely something you want to do. Budapest, I used to live and work there. You must have gone outside of Budapest somewhere to skydive, but I do a lot of that there. And then chicken wings. I mean, you got no body fat.
I'd have a lot of both.
No body fat. We both have.
Lighting.
Do we have both the same? We have the same body dysmorphia, don't we? I'm going to go with chicken wings. You don't do chicken wings by a kilo, do you?
Is that your answer?
That's my answer.
You are incorrect.
Oh, yes!
So 2 for 2. The lie is the skydiving.
Oh, really?
I knew that you went to Budapest for Strike Back.
Wow.
And I was like, maybe I can try to...
Mate, try and strike that in there.
That's in there.
There's a lot of, you've put a bit of thought into that. It's good. You sewed it in there. I can picture it.
Yeah.
I can picture you skydiving in Budapest because it's really flat. Like there's nothing out there. But I mean, you're not going to see much. Like it's...
Do you see the smile? Extreme close-up, really happy.
Yeah, so I breed thoroughbred racehorses, and so I study the hypothetical pedigrees of horses. I own mares, I breed foals, and I mate mares with stallions in the thoroughbred industry.
That's awesome.
Very humanely, and a great thoroughbred welfare. A lot of thought goes into thoroughbred welfare, but that's something that I really enjoy, and that's something that I do at night time. You know, I'm in a long distance relationship, so that's partly why.
That's funny. That was the one that seemed most genuine.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just felt it.
Pure.
I felt the truth. Right. The gaming was like, this cat.
Well, actually, it did have to do. I had to fly. I got strapped to the top of the biplane for a game show in London when I was doing like the bill or something. And the challenge was that if I did the challenge for the show, I won this family like, you know, a couple of £1,000 and whatnot. So I had to I never forget it. I was standing at the end of a runway in Liverpool, England, on the top of a biplane at the end of a runway, strapped into it with these earphones in so I could hear the YMCA, and there were cameras everywhere. And the next minute, the plane just starts going down the runway to take off, and I'm like, what am I doing with my life? And I was like, this is it. I guess this is a way to go. And then we had to fly over the English countryside, but I had to do the YMCA on 4 different angles. So do it standing up sideways, upside down, and then sideways the other way. And I was on this kind of rotating harness. And I did it. And I won them lots of money, and I will never work out why I did that.
You helped family.
I did. I did indeed.
Charity.
It was for the people.
I'm gonna dive into this. Should we try?
All right, what do we got?
Just whatever you want. So we got some prawns, we got some ribs, we got some
Man,
my dietary habits. Do you mind?
Big strapping chassis that you carry around.
You know what? It's a lot of protein.
Yeah,
There you go.
sure.
It's high protein on the daily, and I do have a kg of chicken wings. And
You really?
Yeah, I can really eat.
How old are you?
I'm South African.
How,
I really believe it's about energy, and I've always had this thing like I don't really subscribe to society's standards of like, oh, you should do this by this age, and that kind of keeps me fresh, and I'm always like in the moment
yeah.
and forward thinking rather than like, back in the day I used to be like this. I never said back in the day. I'm like, today's the day.
Yeah.
So and I feel like that keeps me,
Yeah. That's great, but you got
Together.
such a useful energy.
Thanks,
That's
man.
fantastic.
hopefully in a good way and not
Yeah, in a great way.
a kid way.
It's funny, I've had to stop myself saying that I'm old. So I'm 45, and my partner's in her early 30s. My son is 5.
Yeah.
And so inadvertently, I would defer to, because I'm sort of the oldest of the family or whatever.
Yeah.
I would defer to, I'm getting older, I'm older, my beard's grey or whatever.
Yeah.
But I had to stop myself telling myself I was old. Even that was like, oh, that's not my vibe, that's not my energy, that's not my mindset. And so I've stopped saying it, or tried to stop saying it.
You look good, mate.
So I feel good, man. Thank you. Thank you.
So
It spins me out that I'm 5 years away from 50 though. That really spins me out.
are you going to do anything? It's a ways away, but do you want to do something big for it? Like do a party or something? What?
Bro, I don't know what I'm doing next week.
Yeah.
Like,
So good.
yeah. I'm sure, yeah, this is incredible.
That's so good.
I'm gonna try a bit of bread.
Yeah, do it.
Don't shame me.
Okay, zoom into Dan eating this bread.
It's incredible. When you're sort of eating more thoughtfully,
Yeah.
as opposed to dieting or whatnot, but you really appreciate, oh great, I'm really gonna enjoy this, I'm really gonna enjoy that, because I don't eat it all the time.
Yeah.
Or, to sit down and just talk and eat, such a joy. I was looking forward to it today for that. When do you ever go, oh, got an hour, 2 hours carved out of a schedule to go, just sit down and eat and chat. Man.
big.
It's mass. It's exactly that.
I do a little high protein. I do intermittent fasting as well. So 20 hours a day I fast. And
You push it up to 20, yeah?
20, and then I work out 3 times a week for like 35 minutes.
Yeah, wow.
And the rest is,
Yeah.
yeah. You?
Yeah, it's that thing of pushing and pulling the levers, isn't it? It's, what's your caloric output? I work best protein, greens.
Yeah.
Fasting is good for me. I've done a lot of genetic testing, a lot of blood testing, the food testing, have really high inflammatory responses naturally. So when I want to try and get really lean for a job, and particularly, as you'll know, I woke up on my 35th birthday with a sore back and love handles. It was like just instantly. And then to try and do it again, as I have done in the last 2 years for Beast in Me at age 43, 44, there's a lot of great advantages of being in your 40s, which I love, but some things are a bit tougher than they used to be when they were in their 30s or in your 20s. But yeah, no, I definitely fasting, definitely high protein. I don't love being a really big caloric deficit. My brain doesn't work well. I don't feel like that my body really responds well to it. And you can adapt to that. You can adapt to that fasting stuff, and my body's always been really good. But the diet that's worked best for me, hands down, was keto diet.
Really interesting.
Yeah, really
Okay.
just worked for me.
Yeah.
And that was sort of backed up by genetic testing, sorry.
Good.
And so, high sort of Mediterranean diet, oils, fish, etc. So, but But keto was definitely the one where I was least inflamed, leanest, clearest mentally.
By keeping those calories up, no
It's amazing because I could still eat between 25 and 3,500 calories a day on keto and lose weight. Yeah, it was incredible. Yeah,
because your resting calories would probably be like what? I'm guessing like 2,200 as supposed to be.
It's actually 1,900. I'm actually my BMR, basal metabolic rate, is about 1,800 and 1,900. It's quite low.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
So that.
Oh, mind you, I would have been at about 76 kilos. I'm about 82 now. So that might have changed a little bit with the extra muscle, but what a sentence.
What a sentence.
But I love this stuff. I studied it. I worked really hard with great nutritionists and great coaches, and have it in the tool set for work. It's been great. And I want to be, on top of all that, kind of a fit, active, present dad as well, and partner, as he reaches for the ribs. I love that. I don't want to be an old, tired, sore dad. I want to be a really active, present, exciting dad with my fam.
That's so good.
We going hands?
I'm doing it.
No.
I'm right into that too. I'm fascinated with like nutrition and So it's so exciting, and there's always new research coming out, and just finding different ways to tweak your lifestyle. And
have you done any sort of genetic testing or any testing into your specific needs or how your body deals with stuff?
I actually haven't, but that's a good segue. I probably should do that. Just to see. I do respond well to just high protein, not too many carbs, but not no carbs.
Yeah.
And I know what works for my body. I know if I have this meal today, how I'll look tomorrow, but that's not. It's just, anyway, this is not very interesting for you guys, but
you and I, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Because that's how we had to do it sort of, again, for filming this movie.
Yeah.
We shot the final fight sequence over 5 days.
Yeah, right.
So ordinarily you're peaking for a single day. You go, I'm peaking for a photo shoot, I'm peaking for a filming day, which is great. But you can hit day one lean, dehydrated, but then you've got to sleep, eat, recover, and do it again the next day.
Yeah.
And then the next day. And that was one of the hardest things to deal with in terms of diet, in terms of trying to keep your body not retaining water, not blowing up, and trying to match how it was over a fight. It was almost impossible.
Crazy. What's one of the most spontaneous things you've ever done?
I reckon when I was back working on the build, which was a long time ago, one of my best mates had flown over from Australia and he was staying with me in London. And I got to work on a Monday and I realized that I'd been written out of 2 episodes for some reason. Not because I was bad. I think it was a budgetary thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, they said, hey, guess what? You're not in these episodes. We don't need you to film for this next week or 2. And so my buddy and I jumped on a flight to Spain that day.
Yeah.
We didn't have any accommodation. We picked up the rental car and we're like, hey, we're here to pick up our accommodation. Like, what? Like, never mind. And we just drove through Spain in this rental car. We slept on the beach the first night. I remember in our 20s, we just went out in Costa del Sol partying until sun came up and then fell asleep on the beach and went, what should we do next? And we drove all around Spain with no plans, with nowhere to be. And we ended up meeting these great families that had restaurants and tavernas and things like that. Go and eat at their houses, and then we'd drive, and we just basically drove around Spain, got lost in Spain for a month. And every Monday I'd ring and go, hey guys, do you need me on set this week? And they're like, no, you're good, you're not. We'll schedule next week and we'll let you know. And so the best bit was, above all, was we're sitting on a beach in Spain, drinking cocktails in the sun. And I go, my mate, I'm getting paid for this.
So
in pounds.
That's the life.
Right, that was it. That was pretty lucky.
That is lucky. I've actually never been to Spain. This
dude.
On my bucket list.
Oh man, you must.
Go so bad.
Oh God, I haven't had a rib forever.
Yeah?
So good.
So you're Seattle Star.
I'm stuck.
Okay. Actually, Johnny, can you just get all of this? That could be like the intro video.
I'm out of practice with the ribs.
Come on, man. What, did you not eat ribs? You got to do it.
No, I am, man. I haven't.
Let's get in there.
I haven't done it. It's been a while.
That's funny.
You said this was going to be easy.
It's going to be easy. So you're set to star alongside Russell Crowe, Luke Hemsworth, Brent Foster, in Beast in Me. So tell me about this project. How did the role of Pat and James come your way?
This is what I've sort of finished most recently. So Russell and I worked together. We've worked together twice before. We worked on Poker Face, which he directed, which we shot here in Sydney in 2021. Jumped onto a film called Land of Bad, which shot off on the Gold Coast. Russell, Liam and Luke Hemsworth, Milo Ventimiglia, great cast, Ricky Whittle, and auditioned for one of the roles that was working opposite Russell in a US drone base. And so it was basically Russell and I in studio, just the two of us, and with Chica, who's amazing as well. Three of us in studio for 2 weeks, going through all this stuff in the drone base. And the writers of Land of Bad, Dave Frigerio, sort of turned around and went, "Hey, got this other MMA script. I'm watching you and Russell work together. You guys seem to have a great rapport. Maybe we could try and shoot this in Australia as well. And obviously there's a great location and producer offset, and we can make that work." So pretty much off the back of Land of Bad, we tried to get Beast in Me up and running, and it was on again, off again for a while. And thankfully it was, because I never had any fight background. I'd never been taught how to fight.
Yeah, wow.
So I literally had to start from scratch. And thankfully we had 2.5 years of sort of on again, off again. And that was like, there was some, availability issues or some sort of incentive issues or whatever. There was always something that just kind of got in the way to keep it push and push. But I was able to really use that time in the hope that it would come back, because you never know. You might have been training for 2 years and then the whole thing goes away. And as I've had happen at other points in my career, but thankfully it didn't. And so Tyler Atkins came on to direct, and Tyler and I describe almost as an arranged marriage, where here's your director, here's your lead actor, and get to know each other and off you go. And Tyler had made Bosch and Rocket, and we'd known each other as mates for years, but never as a director and actor relationship. Like a good arranged marriage, we fell in love and lived happily ever after. Yeah. But that was like a big journey for us both. And we were, thankfully, by the time we got to set, we were completely sort of in lockstep and unified with our vision for the film and vision for the characters. We ended up shooting in December and then up in January in Bangkok, in front of 10,000 people at a One Championship event, which was massive title fights that night. We shot for a week in Bangkok, came back and shot the rest in Sydney. Bren Foster, incredible fight choreography as well as performance. So the fighting is incredible. And then we got One Championship on board who are partnering up with us. And this little sort of idea that came about 2.5 years ago has just grown into this beast, which has been amazing. And during the course of that, I'd learned a lot more about MMA and about all sorts of martial arts. And I've been coached by some of the greatest martial arts artists around the world. I've learned so much and ate a lot of protein. And lifted a lot of weight, and it's pretty epic actually. So they're in the edit at the moment. I've seen a couple of little scenes cut together. I think it's going to surprise a lot of people. I've worked alongside Russell twice before, but it's the first time I really worked opposite Russell Crowe. We went toe to toe, in a lot of great scenes with great written dialogue, and
it's awesome.
And really cool stuff. So really got to it tested every part of my skill sets, from script analysis, rewriting, writing, coming up with problem solving on set, almost in a producer-director type of way when you're working with everybody, collaboratively on set, physically, martial arts, and then dietarily, or you're trying to do your diet, do 12-hour days on night shoots, train for a fight, train for a topless scene all at once.
Far out.
It was big. It was big, but I'm excited that all the harsh pressure that we're under and all the challenges we faced are all on camera, and you can see it. You can see the pressure. You can see you can just see how hard it was in our faces. You can see how hard it was on screen. Because I think if you're filming a really true fight film, and you're sitting in your trailer drinking lattes, going, "Hey, how good is this?" You can only pretend so much. We were the opposite. We were living it in the trenches every day, no sleep, no money, no whatever it was, whatever the day was. And we had to fight for everything, so.
And even having one championship with and like some of their actual talent involved, how did that help you? Like, did that help you level up or feel like, wow, this is really, for real? It's not just.
I'll never forget it. I mean, I'll never forget that Chartry and One Championship were introduced to us through a dear mate of mine, Kevin Burke, KB. love you. They liked the idea of being in a movie, and they liked that we were presenting, and they liked what we were going to showcase, and we were going to showcase everything that One Championship represented with its true martial artistry and true authentic competition and warrior spirit and everything they represent. But then when we turned up in Thailand and they saw the work that we'd done and they saw Bren and I in the circle fighting, everyone went, oh shit, this is real.
Yeah.
And then what we did over the course of a few days, and then to have Demetrius Johnson in our film, to fight on the night that is Tawan Chai and Superbon having a title fight, to be staying in the hotel with those guys. So I had 2 hours of prosthetics to put my cauliflower ears on every day. And so when you're walking into a breakfast buffet with so many world champion martial artists all staying in the hotel in Bangkok, and they look up and they can't tell, I didn't tell I wasn't a fighter. The respect you'd get, hey man.
That's so cool.
It was all right. Then you go in without the ears, nothing. Completely different.
Yeah.
So just to experience what that was like, to be able to walk out in front of 10,000 people on fight night and have Olivier Coste check my mouth guard and do my Vaso and hug DJ and then step into the cage was extraordinary. I'll never forget that.
Wow.
Like, and my walkout song was, come on in, there's more food. Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
So I'll never, Rage Against the Machine will forever.
I know.
What?
I know.
So
I told you.
Risotto with T-bone steak.
Georgette, this is Dan MacPherson.
Kind of really passionate vices in my life.
Go.
Coffee.
Yes.
Coffee.
Of course.
And steak. But Beast in Me, the last 2.5 years have literally been powered by coffee and steak and eggs, but just, I don't know, you don't mention the C or P words anymore, but that time between 2020 and 2021 when we had to stay inside.
Yes.
One of the things I did was teach myself how to cook really good steaks and really good barbecues.
How do you do your steak? I'm judge you.
I do a single flip.
Okay.
So room temperature, salt, oil, whatnot.
You can come in.
High 2 minutes, depending on the thickness of the steak and the cut of the steak.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you.
Do you base it in butter at the end? Do you do that?
No, I don't. Sometimes I might olive oil it while it's salting and sitting.
Yeah.
But I'm going straight into a hot sear for 1 to 2 minutes and then down to a medium and I'm just flipping once.
Thank you so much.
And then resting. Rest your steaks. Otherwise it's not, the cycle isn't complete.
Good steak is just...
Yeah, so when you can really nail it with a single, especially on a barbecue or whatever, when I can really nail it on a single flip, and it's, All right, speaking of, let's have a look at this.
I mean, this just... Wow. Look how tender that is. This is probably
Wowzers.
medium rare. Yeah, let's go.
We try this together?
Let's do it.
Yeah, it's not really, I'm still this bit. Ready? Holy shit. Oh my God, so good. So good. Wow, that's really good. It's like,
Oh my God.
jelly in the middle there.
This is really good.
You know if it's chewer.
Why have we not had this before? This is delicious. It's because you were here. That's why.
Mate, wow.
My Dan's coming.
There you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yum.
Wow. That's, everything else is a bonus.
This is a good arrangement. Just like steak it up.
Alright.
So good.
Yeah, we'll work out. We'll be fine. We'll be good, mate.
Okay, so physical prep for Beast and Me.
Yep.
Workout-wise, nutrition-wise, what did life look like in the lead up to this role?
Man, it was extraordinary because not only was I touring a play, I was touring a 2-man play for 5 months, which on Waters, we toured The Woman in Black around the country, which is 2 hours on stage, just the two of us, 8 shows a week. Extraordinary through winter. Simultaneously, Austin's mum Zoe was touring Chicago the musical.
Yeah, right.
And we were never in the same city at the same time. So we were both playing leads in touring shows, juggling a 4-year-old before he started school this year.
Yeah.
So that was 2024. That was like huge already. And then when I finished that, they said, hey, I think Beast in Me is going to start in November. And this is August. And I'm exhausted, overweight, out of shape, haven't trained any martial arts since March. We're now 5 months, 6 months later. And suddenly we're on the clock. And It's like, is it really going to happen? Do we really have a start date? Turns out we did.
Yeah.
And so then it was hyper focused in every area that I could control. Wake up in the morning, cooking the food for the day. So nutritionist out of LA, Kevin Libby, we worked together for 10 years now on different projects. I got to a point when I was doing Strike Back that I realized I couldn't train any harder.
Yeah.
So I had to adjust something. I talked about the levers that you pull, cool. I can't train any harder, so I need to fix my diet to get the results that I want.
Okay.
So I was getting up early, cooking my food for the day. I was leaving the house with bags of training gear, food, changes of clothes, because I don't martial arts. I've got martial arts, I've got jiu-jitsu stuff, and then I've got Muay Thai stuff, and then you're drenched, and then I need changes of clothes, but then I want to go to the gym on the way home. Then I'm doing other stuff. Then I'm picking up Austin from school or from daycare, and then spending this time with my son.
Yeah.
And then when he's done or down or whatever the day may look like, another session or weights or whatever I can do, or in the script, then no one tells you when it comes to being a professional fighter, they talk about the training and the sit-ups and the calories and the pain. No one tells you about the washing. The amount of washing that you have to do, because you get home at the end of the night, and so it'd be, if I've left home at 7 o'clock and I'm getting home at 8 or 9 o'clock at night, it's 14 hours on the road and on 2,000 calories or whatever you were trying to do, because you're trying to do all that and on no food.
Yeah.
And stay healthy, not sick, uninjured, and just incrementally have this kind of all these tentacles converging on a start date.
Yeah.
And I remember Russell turned around and went, hey man, and so I went up to Thailand. I went up to Thailand with Russell, and one of my best mates came over from London, and Warren was a great actor. We did Strike Back together. He's one of my best mates, and he's my best mate. It's my best mate. I couldn't say he's one of my best mates. He's my best mate.
Yes.
And he's also the lead in 10 Pound Poms, if you've ever seen that. But he's a great actor and a great mate. So he flew down and met me in Thailand, and he's a 2-time world champion Muay Thai fighter in his pre-acting days. So we went to training camp for 2 weeks in November. Then I came back and had the final 4 weeks leading into the film. But then Russell turned around and he said, hey man, you just gotta know, I know you're training hard and you're working hard, but this is a marathon, not a sprint. And you've got to hit day one, but then you're on to March. I was like, I know, but I've also shooting gym stuff in December, and then I've got to be as fit as I am in December as I am. Anyway, there was a high level focus time. Yeah. And as with any film or independent film, there's still a level of faith and trust that it's all going to happen.
Right.
Yeah. And thankfully it did. And there's a lot of people I have to thank for that. Be it, producers, investors, whatnot, that really backed us to get this movie made. Because at times, you'd wake up and you weren't sure, but we had a heartbeat, and it was all heart and all passion, and it's all on screen, thankfully.
Amazing.
Yeah, man.
And then after it wrapped, I'm sure you would have been exhale, everything, right?
I got to, just a couple of things I've not told anyone. Yeah. I tore my adductor off the bone and fractured my pelvis in Thailand on the 4th night of the fights. It'll probably be on screen. So if you watch the end of the film and you see me limping out of the cage, it's because I thought at that point I'd dislocated my femur. And it turns out I'd actually just torn the muscle off the bone.
Wowzers.
So but it made for a great shot and it looks great. Mm-hmm. And so I had to do the rest of the movie hardly being able to move. And so then I had to do the rest. And it probably, there's a great saying, I love it, there's a gift in everything. The gift in that was that I probably didn't push myself to train as hard when we were back in Australia doing all the drama and the studio stuff, because my crazy brain would have gone, well, you've got to get up and train at 5 in the morning, and then you've got to be on set at 7, and then you've probably got to wrap at 9 o'clock at night, and then you've got to go to the gym again. It stopped me from doing that. Yeah. And Russell was right, because by the time you got to the end of the shoot, and I'm on a fishing trawler in Wollongong Harbour at 2 in the morning, being pelted with rain machines and wind machines, and all the crew are in raincoats, and I'm freezing next to the DP. And thankfully the final shot was Nathan Phillips, great actor, playing the trawler captain, and it was him kind of screaming at us, but not directly through the mist and the fog, because I was next to the DP, hypothermic. I can't do this anymore, man. I'm done. Call it, I'm done. And that was it. I'd given my absolute everything, and I was done. I had nothing left. but that's kind of what it takes, and hopefully you get to see it on screen.
I feel like this is going to be an amazing watch. I actually can't wait to see it. When does it drop? It comes out this year, right? Later this year?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
It's going to air on Stan in Australia.
Okay.
Stan have bought it, Lionsgate have got it in the US, and they're planning big things over there, and it'll be later this year or early next year. No, but it wouldn't surprise me. There's such a great, there's just such a great vibe about it.
Yeah.
There's got energy about it, and great cast. Everyone that we've mentioned, Majon Aria, Kelly Gale played my wife, Amy Shark.
Amy Shark, yeah.
Just great cast. On top of, Luke Hemsworth, Bren Foster.
Bren Foster's the man.
And what that guy can do. What that guy
crazy.
can do. When he go toe to toe with Russell Crowe in acting, I had to go toe to toe with Bren Foster in a cage in martial arts, mixed martial arts. And I had to try and do it all with at least 3 or 4 abs. So it was like, I wanted to fight like Conor McGregor, I wanted to look a bit like Chris Hemsworth, and I had to act like Russell Crowe. That was the challenge.
Far out. Do you think you smashed that? How do you feel about it?
I feel good. I feel really good, actually. Probably one of the most mature and grounded performances of my life. Yeah, I hope everyone gets to see. There's a performance in there.
Yeah.
It's in the hands of the editors and the sort of post-production at the team at the moment. I hope so.
Good.
When people say, what's your last meal? Like, what would you like your meal be? This isn't far off it, bro.
All honest, like the carbs.
Just like centerpiece, amazing steak.
Mm-hmm.
Great greens. Like the risotto is amazing. Chips.
Crunchy.
Beautiful little bit of bread. I mean, dude, this is it.
My final meal, if I was in prison or whatever, would be soul food, American soul food.
Oh yeah?
Fried chicken, waffles, candied yams, collard greens, all of that.
There is so much soul in that part of the world.
Can't eat it every day now.
No. What would you go to jail for?
What do you reckon?
Not answering that.
So you did The Woman in Black with John Waters. What drew you back to theatre after so long being away?
I'd done 222 in Melbourne with Remy, Ruby Rose, Gemma. Man, it was at a time, when you talk about the ups and downs of this industry, right before that, I'd had 3 jobs back to back, 2 movies back to back. Beast in Me was gonna go, this other movie that was shooting in South Australia, an American film, and there were others floating around. And then within 3 weeks, I had a year's worth of work lined up back to back. It was like, oh, prayers have been answered. Then within 4 weeks, each one of them had fallen over. And you're like, shit. And this was sort of, a couple of years ago, the writer's strike and the actor's strike, and there was so much uncertainty in our industry. And I got offered to go back on stage for the first time in 20 years. I realized I had all these skills from when I lived in London when I was much younger. Jumped back on stage and it was like opening up an old suitcase full of tricks and tools. I was like, I remember this. I did this for 5 years right at the beginning of my career, and I know this. And I loved it. I loved getting, so at a time when there was so much uncertainty, there was something extraordinarily reliable about the solidarity of theatre.
Yeah.
And so I did 222. It was a month rehearsal and a month on stage at Her Majesty's in Melbourne. That was so great. I was like, if there's something else that comes up, I would jump at it. And a month later, The Woman in Black came along, and so that had run for 35 years in the West End in the UK. It was based on a fantastic novel, but had been adapted. The script had been beautifully refined. It was opposite John Waters, who I turned up to rehearsals one day and was like, I've been doing this for 25 years. And he goes, I've been doing this for 50 years. I was like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah, right.
We've become beautiful friends and great mates and loved working with him. But you just got the solidarity of this language and this script. So it was like going to the gym for your acting every day, because it was script and performance driven, hardly any effects, hardly any lighting, hardly any sound. John played 7 characters, I played 3.
Wow.
And so we had to be really connected and really bouncing off each other to take these audiences on this adventure up into the foggy, scary history of Northern England. We did that over 3 timelines in 1950, 1915 and 1860. So I've been on steroids for your acting. It was so satisfying, and because of the quality of that material, no matter how deep you were digging or how many times you did it, and we did 127 performances over 17 weeks or something like that, at 2 hours a pop. And, you know, John outstayed me. His stamina was incredible. I had a couple of shows, I got sick, I had 4 shows off. He didn't miss a beat, he didn't miss a show. The guy's a legend.
Yeah.
When I grow up, I want to be John Waters. But it was just something just so satisfying and immediate and reliable about live theatre. And I think similar to live music or any type of theatre, live performance has lasted thousands of years. Theatres have existed in some capacity for as long as we can find human remains, archaeology.
Yeah.
But I think in this day and age, with phones, with AI, with the way we consume content, to go and have an immediate interpersonal human experience, to be however many meters away from a real person feeling real emotions,
Yeah.
is something that we innately crave as humans. But then to have that experience communally, if you're in a room with 1,000 people watching another human perform, emote, sing, act, dance, whatever that is, I think in this day and age, there will be a resurgence and a renaissance of that kind of performance and that kind of interhuman connection. I think people will crave that. And so I think we'll see more theatre, more live theatre, more plays, more human artistry that exists in person than potentially on phones and televisions and computers. I think it's inherently who we are, and that's why theatre and performance and art has existed for longer than we can realize.
Amazing.
There you go, bro.
Yeah.
How's that?
It's inspiring. And with theater and screen as an actor, is your process different between, so if you get like, here's a role, like the way you prepare for that versus this piece of me, just in terms of the sides and the script, like the script, is your process different? Physical stuff aside, just.
I found that as I've gone on, like the words in theatre are more significant, and you're honoring the writing and you're honoring, you know, the rhythm of that, and the words are the framework. But I found in film that the thoughts are the framework. That's been a slightly different process for me, that I don't get caught up in how many lines I've got, or I don't get caught up in how many words I've got, because I think with film, you've got an audience being shown a path through. You don't have to tell them what to do. You don't have to tell them with words. For me, there's a lot more going on unspoken in a big close-up in a movie, because on stage, potentially, the audience's focus is with the person who is either talking or moving, or that, you know, maybe not. That's again huge generalizations, because you know your focus is going to your lead character, but you've got such a big picture to experience and take in theatre. But it's up again, film as a director or an editor's medium in all cases. But there's a lot, there's a lot more subtlety and a lot more thought and a lot more stillness that in my film performances. But there's something incredibly powerful and addictive potentially about finding that power and that stillness and that connection when you're standing downstage left. Like that's to be able to walk with purpose and power to the front of a stage and deliver what you need to deliver with 1,000 people right there with you. That's pretty awesome too, you know.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So good. So Barry is the bone. You can have the meat of the bone, Barry.
So did you grow up in South Africa?
Yeah, Cape Town.
Yeah. So when did you leave?
Oh, was it probably 12 years old? They moved
With
to
your family?
With my family. And then they still live in New Zealand. We moved to New Zealand, and then I moved here.
Whereabouts in New Zealand?
Auckland.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Which is where we first met.
Which is where we first
Remember when we first met?
Our mutual friend Manu Bennett, I was hanging out with him in Auckland, and he goes, bro, you want to come to this cast dinner? I'm like, bro, I don't want to be an really good.
Really good.
I don't want to be an add-on. He's like, oh, it's okay, bro. It's okay. So I went to this dinner and saw this cat down the end of the table.
We met, I reckon, outside whatever that hotel was called out we were staying at, on Hobson Street in Auckland, over dinner. I still remember the exact moment I met him.
How do you remember the street?
Well, I lived there for 6 months filming Shannara. I forget the hotel though, but it was right there. And no man, I remember very clearly. We were outside the hotel with Aaron and Manu, and it was a great bunch of people.
Yeah.
And that would have been about March 2015.
Right on the money. So over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And now
I just moved there to start Shannara because that was an early cast dinner because I think we'd either hadn't started filming or about to start filming. Yeah.
wow, good memory.
Oh man, photograph it.
You know,
Yeah.
get those lines down real
Very
quick.
white, like you're wearing like a cream jacket or
How
what?
do you remember
Got a
that?
photographic memory, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know if you got photos. We got a photo from that night.
Like I think like one photo.
We got a photo from that. Have a look what you're wearing. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your weirdest habit?
What the horse pedigree thing wasn't enough.
True. Yeah, let's just insert that there. Yeah.
I'm really OCD. Like I do a lot of. I fiddle a lot. Like that's like this is annoying me. Like not that I'm finished, but I just.
So all these little things like dude, really? Are you freaking out right now with all that?
No, I just. If I was sitting down at a table for like a line read, like a table read, or if I was, going to a meeting, I had a meeting last night about film finance. Yeah, better. Do you want to put the salting like directly that way, or because it's a bit of an angle? Wow. This guy out. I don't know. It's what else? I mean, I got loads of.
So you're OCD. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Which actor would play you in a movie about your life? Just think big, Dan. Whoever you want.
Fassbender. No, Shire.
Ah, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's the answer is who would I like to work with, and that's Fassbender and Shire.
Fassbender's the man. And Shire as well.
I just love everything I've seen, heard, read. Very different styles, but both incredibly passionate and committed to every character, every performance. Fassbender's always had this incredible stillness and reserved cinematic style. Shire, you can see, just loses himself in his characters, and I admire both of those things in each of those guys. Yeah.
He's casting the role, so hit him up. You're a proud dad to Austin.
Oh man.
What's one of the most surprising things about fatherhood for you? Because I'm sure there's a lot. So one of.
I mean, it's still the craziest realization is we made that. Like, he's a little me. I said to him the other day, like we were looking, I was like, do you know about jeans? And he's like, yeah, pants. And I was like, no. I'm gonna say there's this other type of jeans.
Yeah.
And that means there's cells within me that when we make you're part your mum and part your dad. And so I said, look at your hands. And he showed me his hand and I showed him my hands. So I was like, they look exactly the same, don't they? He's like, oh yeah. And then I'm like, show me your feet. He's got MacPherson feet, the poor kid.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh wow. But the idea that we've created this little version it still blows my mind. The kind of innate sense of looking up to his parents is just the most beautiful thing. He's learning to read. He started school this year. He's learning to read. Dad, and he loves it. Loves it. Dad, times tables and letters and sounds, and he brings a book home and says, Dad, I want to show you my reading. Great. So he's sitting down for the first time, and the hot cat jumps on the red tin or whatever. But it's like, so the most surprising thing is could never comprehend the depth of connection that happens when you become a parent. And I had been working overseas the majority of my life. And then I came home and Austin was born. And not long after, I had to make a decision as to whether I would take the job on foundation for Apple and go back overseas. And ultimately, that was a communal decision with Austin's mum and myself. And I'm still eternally grateful that we said, hey, let's go and have a crack. Go and we'll make it work. And we did. But suddenly, for the first time in my career, I went from Sydney, Singapore, London, Dublin, and then drove to the west coast of Ireland. And I've traveled my entire life. I have never felt so far away in my life.
Wow.
Because suddenly I was a dad, and suddenly I was needed, and suddenly I was in the wrong place. And thankfully, the world shut down for an amount of time and I was able to come home. But immediate change of, it's not about you. You've got to pull your head out of your backside, which is hard to do when you've been living in LA for 10 years and you're an actor and there's a whole bunch of reasons that your head could be, right up your backside, and suddenly it's not about you. And that took adjusting to, but now it's the joy. It's an absolute joy to raise a son. And I look forward to raising more children at some point when life brings me that opportunity. But for now, the selfish part of that is the emotional depth and accessibility that it gives you as an actor is, crap. Like suddenly I was like, all you guys that had kids in your 20s, now I get it. That's why you were so good in your 20s, Then I waited till I was 40 till Austin was born. And I was like, now I get it. When did you leave Auckland?
I left Auckland 2003, so a long time ago. And I was in like a hip hop, like a breakdancing crew, and it was like, Australia's like the next big thing, we got to go there. So we went there and just more opportunities. And I'm glad that we did.
When you speak about South Africa, you go with South African accent, then you speak about New Zealand, then you go to...
I don't know why, it's so weird.
It's amazing.
Even if I wasn't at a thing, like I try to relay a story and I'd imagine where I am. Anyway, so we moved here and...
Are your folks still in New Zealand?
Mom and dad are still there.
Yeah, right.
I have 2 brothers as well. And shout out to Mark and Dre and Mom.
Hey, fam.
Hey fam. So but so many mates there. New Zealand's got a big part of my heart. I'm still a Kiwi citizen as well.
Yeah.
High school years there. So I love it. So good.
But your South African connection is first and foremost?
It's first and foremost.
Yeah.
I'm actually about to do a play for MTC that's based in South Africa.
Oh, brilliant.
And it's about like set in the like apartheid 1970s. So it's very close to home. So
amazing.
That part of my life is, I think...
A new play?
It's a new work.
Yeah.
I feel like the more, it's called Destiny. I feel like the more advanced in years that I get, I'm not going to say the O word, I crave those roots more.
Yeah.
South Africa, because even a couple of years ago, I went back with South African tourism to South Africa, and it felt like after 20 years of not being there, and it felt like a puzzle piece just fitting back in. It was just incredible. And it just like, that extra reconnection, it was
to who you are, and also
who I am,
say 12 years of your first 12 years of your life was there. Oh, it was massive.
But you wouldn't think that because you're so young, but man, like it makes a difference to return to that home.
Both your parents born in South Africa?
Yeah, African, English, German, Indonesian parents, both born in South Africa.
African, English, German, Indonesian.
Yeah.
Wow.
Both born in South Africa.
Have you explored any of that ancestry in Germany or Indonesia or anything like that?
The Indonesian side's not much. That's like from my mom's dad's side. I've tried to ask my mom, and I'm just going to call you out, Mom, like, where's the family tree at? I've tried to ask her, and she's like, I'm not going to go into an accent. She said, Barry, I just lost. I don't know much about our family tree. Yeah, this guy was like, I said,
I've eaten a bucket load of beans though.
I said, do you have any dietary restrictions? She's like, no dietary restrictions, just protein and salad, greens, and then he's basically eating all my steak and no greens. Strike Back, all the explosions, all of the action, all the locations. What was that ride like? That's so fun to watch.
Man, that was that was crazy. We auditioned for that in 2007, 16?
Yeah.
17, 18, 19. Yeah, 17, 18, 19. First season was Budapest in Croatia. Second season was Malaysia with a bit of Hong Kong and Singapore. And the third season was back to Croatia in Zagreb, living in Zagreb. And it was incredible. Like we were so highly trained in our weapons and our tactics stuff. Warren Brown, who I mentioned before, he was a trained fighter. So it was like, you do all the punching, I'll do all the shooting. So I got really good at the weapon stuff because I was living in LA as well. So you had access to weapons, access to training, access to Navy SEALs or Marine Special Forces or whoever you wanted to train with. And it was a show that celebrated that military and tactical authenticity. It was perfect for me, having a really physical side to my work and to my career. We got to just go and run around with guns, blow everything up, travel the world, do all these like action cliches where you're driving out into the sunset when the building blows up.
Yeah.
And you had this amazing realization in the first month of the first season we're involved in, got sent out to Jordan to train with the Jordanian Special Forces, and there's a $300 million Special Forces training center in Amman, Jordan, owned by the king. And so we got sent there for 2 weeks to train, and then we shot the first month in Amman, Jordan. And so there was this unfinished kind of massive, multi-level, 300 meters long housing estate in the middle of nowhere. It was like big buildings. It was like, it looked like a war zone. And so our first big gunfight was I had to run from one end to the other, and there were mounds and blown up cars and bad guys up in the buildings and all this sort of stuff. And they had a buggy with a Steadicam following me, and there were bad guys shooting and shooting blanks, but live blanks. And so action, and so you run out, fucking run high, and then and this went for 200 or 300 meters. I got to the end of it, and I realized for the first time, I was like, I can't die. Like, I've signed on for multiple seasons. Oh, this is epic. I get to go and do this, and I can't die. Like you see these guys come out with AKs and bang, you're like, oh, this is going to be the best job ever.
So good.
And I hadn't had that realization, strangely enough, before that. Yeah. But suddenly I was like, oh, for the next 3 years, I get to run around and like jump out of Black Hawks, do speedboat chases, do car chases, like drive big like military vehicles like through brick walls, like shut down entire like cities, and bombs go off, and for the most part you can't die,
That's
unless you get written out and they decide you're not coming back. But I managed to survive through to the very end, and it was epic. I mean, you talk about injuries, like I tore everything, ripped everything, with scars, burns, you name it. But I was 37 when I started that job. I was just about to turn 40 when I finished. I still thought I was indestructible, at that point in life. Yeah. And for the most part I was, but got to travel, got to see amazing parts of the world, make great friendships in each of those places we were, and really learn a lot of stuff. And it's one of those shows, I mean, there is no show that I've done that I don't wish I could go back and do again a couple of years later, when you've learned more, you've grown in your artistry, and you've grown in your craft. Go, oh, I'd love to go back and do that again now. Like I wish I could, but that was a real amalgamation of, you had to be on point with your acting, with your timing, with your delivery, with your accent. I was playing American, but then you had to weave that into really fast-moving camera shots, or you had to be really cognizant of when a Steadicam is following a burning vehicle, and you've got to deliver your line as that Steadicam's coming past and that vehicle's, all that stuff like that, or you've got to jump out from behind a car, bang bang, shoot that guy, say the line, go back in. So it's a really heightened sort of awareness of the whole thing. And you go, and I'm not allowed to shoot the cameraman. I've got this safety awareness. I'm not allowed to shoot my co-star. Because by the end of that, after 3 years of that, our South African armourers were giving us backpacks full of magazines, rifle magazines. Wow. And going, we don't, because in America or Australia, they're like, okay, you've got one round, it's loaded, you have to hold it, and when you call action, bang, you shoot it, and then they call cut, and you give it back. In Strike Back, they're like, here's a backpack, here's 2 rifles, knock yourselves out. And you're like,
so good.
It was real fun. Really cool.
With your 6-7 triathlons you've done, that training would have probably helped you with your stamina and all that.
Yeah, I'm a diesel engine, not a turbo. That's for sure. But I raced Ironman and triathlons for 20 years, and that sort of, it helps like physically, but it also has always helped with a self-discipline, or the discipline that comes from preparing for a role, or being able to push yourself really hard and for a role, for preparation for a role. Because training for an Ironman was like 25, 30 hours a week, whether you liked it or not. Had to go and ride 150, 200 Ks on a Saturday morning before you went to work to host Dance with the Stars, or whatever I was doing at the time. That work ethic from that sport has been something that I've always taken into everything else I've done.
So good. Okay, Dan, we do have one other thing in common.
Oh yeah?
Neighbors.
Really?
So
I knew that.
No, but for the fans, your diehard fans from back in the day, is there something that they wouldn't know that would surprise them or delight them? Give them something. Some BTS or give us a scoop.
Well, no, I probably shouldn't say this, but me, Ryan, and Lance, who played Toadie, Lance, and Andrew Bibby, who played Lance, we used to draw cartoon penises on all the sets. So if you ever did that show, and there was some odd graffiti on the back of the set, it was probably Joel sometime in the late 90s.
That's funny.
Can I say that?
Yeah, of course you can say that.
Yeah, but then when we're back many years later, obviously those sets have been changed and the cartoon dicks are gone. When you're 18 and you're on Neighbours and it's the late 90s and you come straight out of high school and what do? We drew phallic things on the number 30 sets. What else could I tell you?
So is that the headlines or cartoon dicks? That's gonna be the soundbite. Yeah.
We talk about film, television, and drawing dicks.
So we go.
There we
Perfect.
go.
To finish things off, I'll hit you with some fast trivia. You ready for this?
Okay.
Here we go. Which river flows through the heart of Budapest, dividing the city into Buda and Pest?
That is the Danube River.
Correct.
There you go.
Which long-running TV drama holds the record for the most Emmy wins?
Most Emmy wins.
Yeah.
I wonder if Emmy wins are also the data. Oh, Grey's Anatomy?
Game of Thrones.
Oh,
59 wins.
jeez. Right.
Which MMA organization is considered the largest in the world by global viewership and engagement?
That is the wonderful people at One Championship.
Correct. What is the longest running Broadway show of all time?
Cats.
Is it? The fans of the movie are
Close.
14,000 performances, crazy.
Wow.
And this, you should get this one. In which year did triathlon make its official debut as an Olympic sport?
I think it was the 2000 Olympics, wasn't it?
You got it.
There you go. I remember watching that.
Yeah. Dan, thank you so much for coming on this.
Bro, my absolute pleasure.
So good.
My absolute pleasure, man. Thank you. Thank you very much. And this was amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Just turn the other way, really. I'm
And also, we're done now, so you can...
If you love this episode of Banter with BC, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.